Out here at the Progression Solicitor Stadium, joining me is the new Bluebirds Chief Executive Officer, Levi Gill. Levi, very warm welcome. I mean, first of all, how does it feel for you being appointed in this new role today?
It's obviously a massive honour as a fan of the club first and foremost. A bit surreal, obviously exciting. I think the opportunity to be involved in the club, particularly at this time, this kind of historic moment for us back in the Football League, was an opportunity, really too good to turn down.
I mean, obviously, people know that you're in the role, but can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm kind of Barrow born and raised, if you like, between Ormsgill and New Barns, where I live now. Went to Manchester to get a degree, then spent some time in the leisure industry in Germany. Came back 7 years ago to a job at BAE in project management, and I've just come here from there. I think as a fan, since I've come back from Germany, as you'll know yourself, Adam, we've spent a bit of time together going up and down the country, from Gateshead to places like Dover. I've been involved in the Bluebirds Trust and was lucky enough to be their first director on the board, which is where I've kind of transitioned into this role from.
So with everything that's gone on through the years, what makes you feel that you were the right person for the job?
I think that's obviously, that's not for me to say, it's for the owners that kind of have appointed me and chosen me. They'll give their view, and Paul has a little bit, but I think from my side, I think what we've got coming up here, what we're confronting in all the EFL compliance, we've got to now, get our head around. My background is very much in process improvements, change management. I think knowing the inner workings of the club from my time on the board, I obviously already know the staff, I know some of the challenges, and you'll see outside the scale of construction work going on. We've had to move quickly. We've had to move quickly to replace Ian, which we've done, I think, really well with David Dunn. We're all really excited. We've had to move quickly to get the pitch work done. We've had to move quickly to get the roof on. And we've had to move quickly to make this appointment. And I think part of the appeal of me, I would think, to the owners is not only the skills I can bring, but the fact that there's not that learning period. I get the club, and I'm excited to get into it as a fan as well.
So obviously we've touched on there, why you feel you were the right person for the job, but the job in itself, what does it entail being the CEO here at Barrow A.F.C?
That's a fair question. Obviously we haven't had one before. There has been one under Paul Casson, but this ownership haven't had. I would describe it as the off-field operations. So if it doesn't come under David Dunn, it kind of comes under my side of the club, particularly commercially. If you think things like the club shop, the match day operations, engaging with the fans and improving their experience, that's what I'm here to do.
So obviously, you're new into the job now. You've said there about your role will be working pretty much what David Dunn doesn't do. How does that fit in with the current board of directors at the club?
Obviously, we know we've got quite a hands-on board, which is a great asset and always has been. Paul is our chairman, but also the accountant, kind of the custodian of the checkbook in a lot of ways. Mark Etherington's a great influence down here on a daily basis. Chris Wilkes does the construction, and me and Tony Shearer have worked quite closely on, as I say, where my skills have gravitated and where Tony's do is in the infrastructure, the organisation. So we talk daily. I talk to Chris daily on overseeing the contractor work down here, Paul making sure I'm not spending too much, and me and Tony are looking at how we're going to now set ourselves up for the EFL.
So obviously today, first day in the job, how do you think it's gone for you so far?
I think it's going to be no 2 days the same. So today I've obviously met with all the staff one-on-one. I think it's important to get their views, their expectations for the future, how they see their roles, how I maybe see their roles, and how we need to set up. In amongst that, you get embroiled in conversations with various contractors down here. We're getting CCTV installed. The turnstiles will be, there's a contractor coming soon to look at those. I'm in conversations as of this morning to get Sky TV in, because obviously we don't really want BT anymore. We need to see our own games now that we've moved back into the EFL. So it's really varied. If you're not careful, you look back and half a day's gone, and you have to kind of remind yourself what you've done, because it moves that quickly. It's it's a really dynamic environment to work in, but exciting.
So with all the jobs that are ongoing, priorities-wise, what do you think your main ones are in the short term?
I think right now there's obviously the EFL compliance issues, and as well what we don't talk about enough probably is the impact of COVID. For every document we get from the EFL, we also get COVID guidance either from again the EFL or the SAG. There's a lot of unique processes will have to be put in place to get fans back in the ground, which is obviously one of our real immediate priorities. We want to get guys back in here watching the games. It'd be a shame for this historic season to not be seen in the early parts. And getting the infrastructure right in the club. I want the staff to all be confident in what they're doing, happy, enjoying what they're doing, clear in what we're all doing, so that we can then communicate to fans and really improve their experience.
Obviously, last season saw a massive success in the commercial side at the club. No doubt that will also fall on you to drive that forward as well, going forward this season. Yeah,
it's exciting. There's plans. As you say, you focus on that short term, but we do want to look at the range of stock in the shop, for example. We want to look at expanding the catering offer, particularly down in the new fan zone. There's certain plans for the fan zone. I want to look at screens, a sound system to create a decent atmosphere. There's plans and there's things that hopefully I can bring a little bit of a fan insight to that we can get on with once we're over this initial ridge of compliance and getting ready for the challenges of COVID.
So when you look at we've looked at the short-term side of things, long-term, have you got any goals in your mind that you really want to drive forward, long-term for the club in your role?
I think it's obviously all going to be a process. What we have done, and I think, with David, we've made a great appointment. I'm obviously keen to justify the faith put in me, but what we have is people in both wings of the club who, David will be the first to admit he doesn't come with years and years of frontline managerial experience, although he's got a great coaching record. I'm obviously new to my role. We as a club are new to the EFL. COVID is another degree of learning, so we are all learning as we go. So we won't get everything right. Something else I'm keen to get set up, hopefully next week, is I want a club email account for people to start giving feedback, ideas, because ultimately this club belongs to us all, not just not just the owners, but the fans are an owner now, of course. I want the fans engaged, and I want to make them feel that their views are listened to, because they ultimately are the guys who come to the bar, they're the guys that buy the shirts, follow us home and away, and they know what we need to put in place more so than some of the owners. So it's, I guess, long term, it's getting that balance where the fans feel that they can contribute, and I think then you can make yourself sustainable and successful if we all play our part, which is what I think we as a club and a fan base deserve.